You ain't from the hood. Nah, you ain't get put on, you ain't from the hood. You ain't never got put on, you ain't from the hood. Niggas always claim to set blood, ain't from the hood. Hell nah. You ain't never got put on, you ain't from the hood. Oh, I live in the hood, ass nigga. Never got put on, always claiming the hood though. Oh, you fucking with the homegirl, but don't come to the hood with none of your damn homeboys. They don't get a pass. Had a little homies press they ass for your tattoos. Hey, your mama waking up to some bad news. The plug saying groove, I'm a down. I was long in the race, skinny nigga with the braids, took a 2-man fade. I'm really from the hood. I took a fucking break to get my money right, but I was begging on the plane in the meeting with Jermaine. They like, poet, oh you bang? They forgot where I came from. I was gang banging when it wasn't fun. Homie doing life right now, cause we don't. You ain't from the hood. Nah, you ain't get put on, you ain't from the hood.
Joe Biden definitely ain't from the hood.
You ain't never got put on, you ain't from the hood.
He definitely ain't from the hood.
Niggas always claim to set blood, ain't from the hood. Hell nah. You ain't never got put on, you ain't from the hood. And that goes for these hoes too. Start fucking on niggas and throwing these niggas hood up. Ha, little dot. Heard you gave a homie head in the trap spot. Gotta throw away in the stash spot. Boy, you not real, like a Sasquatch. Boy, I'm so high, I'm seeing astronauts. Boy, I ball hard, I need a mascot. Oh, and Swahili, I'm a down move. My little cousin making Paru. My nigga Uzi, he from Fire Deuce. Pad blows, I be hanging with some real whoops. Gang signs out the window when we drive coupes. Making money with some crips like it's 92. Banging on tracks, banging on tracks. Back in my days, it was banging on. You ain't from the hood. Nah, you ain't get put on, you ain't from the hood. You ain't never got put on, you ain't from the hood. Niggas always claim to set blood, ain't from the hood. Hell nah. You ain't never got put on, you ain't from the hood.
Fuck Chris Brown, nigga. Pull up in the hood right now, nigga. Catch your fade, nigga. Fuck, nigga. Frogs.
You ain't from the hood.
What's up with it? I gotta give a special shout out. What's up with you, Black Barbie? I gotta give a special shout out. Who donated? I got Roger Wood up in here done donated to talk about keep up the good work. Black Barbie done already donated up in here. Good night, guys. Hold it down for me. Laugh on my behalf. That means Black Barbie must not be in the chat. You gonna miss a good show, Black Barbie. I bet you're going to catch it tomorrow on the replay. This is a very good show right here. But I want to give a special shout out to Sharon. She sent my son a big old package through the P.O. box. You know what I'm saying? My son going to be straight with school supplies until he entered college, damn it. You know what I'm saying? Thank you. Special shout out to Sharon on that, right? Oh, what's up? Sergeant Mode up in the house. I was just about to text Sergeant Mode. Let me text Time as and tell Time we live. Evidently, Time ain't got the damn notification because I don't see Time as up in here. Let me text Time and tell him we live. You know what I'm saying? Before Time get up in here talking shit. Why you didn't call me and tell me you was live? Right? But I decided to make this video, right? Because, you know, Joe Biden has done this divisive ass MAGA and racist and all this old shit. It was very different from the old Joe Biden when he became president. He was talking about uniting the country and peace and shit, right? And all this old shit, right? But if you are a liberal, right, you are falling right into the Democrat trap with this democracy. They done brainwash you, right, to make you believe that democracy is a good thing. This country ain't ran on a fucking democracy. Democracy don't work. Democracy is fucking bad, right? Why you think the Democrats want all these numbers, right? They want all these numbers, and they want to eliminate the filibuster, and they want to do all that shit in the name of the democracy. They write about democracy, right? And they write that they want a democracy, right? But and they're right that the Republicans are fighting against the democracy, right? And it's not a bad thing that Republicans are fighting against democracy. But I think the Republican Party needs to define the word democracy better, because they're throwing the word out there and not putting no definition behind it, right? It's not really is at stake? And you ain't got to do no definition on how it's at stake or why it's at stake or anything. You just throw that out there and run with any kind of sentence, right? Oh, our democracy is at stake, right? And you're right. Your democracy is at stake, right? And it should be at stake because this country wasn't ran on a fucking democracy. It wasn't founded on a democracy. The forefathers didn't want this motherfucker to be ran on a democracy. So you talking about you want a democracy is going against every law and every constitution that was written in the United States. And they throw it in your face, right? And they're making it seem like it's a good thing, right? Ask next time you ask a liberal, or you see a liberal or a Democrat or anything like that, just ask them, right? What is your definition of a democracy, right? If they can't tell you the definition of a democracy, please tell them to watch this video right here. Like, look, I'm not fit to explain democracy, but I'm fit to let Black Rosebud explain it to you. Give me your phone. I'm fit to forward you the video. You know what I'm saying? All that shit. I'm playing on your phone. You can watch it later, and it tells you exactly what a democracy is. Let's roll it. Let's get into it. Oh, I gotta push unmute. That would be smart of me if I push unmute. That would be smart of me if I push unmute on the Joe Biden thing so he can talk. Let's talk, Joe Biden. Okay, there we go. Let's talk, Joe Biden. Let's talk about this democracy. Democracy!
I said at the outset, I wanted to represent this campaign to represent and look like America.
It certainly do look like America, the old America, divisiveness, fucking racism, a country divided, damn near at a civil war. You damn right, Joe Biden. You done exactly what you achieved.
We've done that. Now that's what I want the administration to look like and act like. I stand here tonight. Equality and democracy are under assault.
Democracy, it should be under assault. Assault the shit out of democracy. Whoever talk about the democracy, tell them they stupid for even letting the Democrats fool them and to believe in a democracy is cool. This everybody, when they say we fighting against democracy, say you damn right we fighting against democracy. Ain't nothing wrong with it. You right.
For all those of you who voted for President Trump, I understand the disappointment tonight.
Oh, yeah. No, you don't. You don't understand the disappointment. You will never understand the disappointment. But Joe Biden gonna clean it up.
I've lost a couple times myself.
You lost all time, Joe motherfucking self. Nigga, you ain't won nothing. YouTube, I do not believe in the words that are coming out of my mouth. Disclaimer. The views and comments that are expressed on this video are not the views expressed by me. It's somebody else talking on here. It's not me, so I guess you can't catch the everyone like, oh, it's you talking. No, it's not me talking. It's somebody else talking, right? He didn't. He never won anything in his life, including Father of the Month, or of the week, or even of the motherfucking day.
But now, let's give each other a chance.
Let's give each other a chance. That nigga went from let's give each other a chance, right, to fuck MAGA, basically, right? This nigga went, like, you remember the Sour Patch Kids? They can be sweet or they can be sour, right? That was in sweet. Now this is in sour today.
We do ourselves no favor to pretend otherwise. So tonight, I've come to this place where it all began to speak as plainly as I can.
And as racist as he can. I want to speak as cleanly and as racist as I can.
A whole lot about this speech tonight that feels familiar. And I say this because, here we are, the 2020 campaign, I think we all thought was going to be, okay, this has got to be a moment of choosing, a time for choosing, a time for clarity when it comes to the democracy. And in some ways, here we are 2 years later, and we're having the same debate.
Okay, look. Next time you talk to a Democrat, right, tell them, I thought 2020 was about saving democracy, right? Now, what in the fuck did they save? And if they didn't save it, what in the fuck is it that they're trying to do, right? If they said they saved it, what changed? If they still trying to save it, talking about, oh, it's still in danger, our democracy in danger. It was in danger in 2020. This is important because our democracy at stake, right? Y'all won, supposedly, and what happened to democracy? Y'all didn't fix it? It was at stake. Y'all won. Y'all didn't fix it because y'all still fighting for the same thing today. 2 years later, y'all still fighting for the soul of America. Y'all still fighting for democracy. 2 years later, what did democracy look like? What changed so we know when y'all won that our democracy was saved? What did y'all save it from? Ask the people that. In 2020, they said our democracy is at stake, right? And we saved the democracy when we voted Joe Biden in from Donald Trump. What did we save? And 2 years and a year later, because they've been hollering democracy since last year, right? Since 2 years ago, in 2 years, they still haven't figured the democracy shit out yet. But oh yeah, I'm glad they didn't, because we'll be fucked.
As we build an America that is more prosperous, free, and just. That is the work of my presidency, a mission I believe in with my whole soul.
How does this reflect on where we are when it comes to this battle for the democracy?
Greece was a democracy. The people had the ultimate say. So, for instance,
Greece was a democracy. And you see what a democracy means? The people have the ultimate say. We're not in a fucking democracy because the people don't have the ultimate fucking say. Huh? We're not in a democracy. The people ain't got the ultimate say. In a democracy, it do. Do you want the people to have the ultimate say? I don't. I don't want the people to have the ultimate say. I want them to have a vote, but I don't want them to have the ultimate say. That's not what the people for. And that's not how a republic is ran. My bad. I went ahead of the video, right? I said we in the republic. My bad. I didn't mean to say that. Jump ahead of the video and say we was in the republic and not a democracy. My bad.
in the case of the healthcare law, instead of having lawmakers who would draft a bill and vote on a bill and then let the people know what the decision was, they would write a bill, a healthcare bill, and then all the people would go to the polls and the people would vote. And if the majority of the people said we like the healthcare law, it would become law.
Now that's a democracy. Do you want to live in a democracy? Do you want the people to have the ultimate say, majority? That's what the Democrats say. I don't think the minority should have a vote in what the majority want to do. That's a democracy. And in a democracy, that's exactly what happened. The minority don't have a voice. Remember, you just hear what he said? Everybody vote, and the most votes, and they say yeah, right, it wins. The minority has no voice, right? They have no power. They left the fuck out. So the minority will always be ruled in a democracy. But our great forefathers, they was ahead of their time. We do not live in a democracy.
And if the majority of people said we don't like it, then it wouldn't become law. Everything would be based upon majority rules.
It's time to put away the harsh rhetoric.
It's time to put away the harsh rhetoric. Do we want everything, the majority rules on everything? Do we actually want that? Think about it. The majority of the people in the world is Democrats. Do we want the Democrats to have the ultimate say on every fucking thing, right? And the Republican Party don't have a voice on nothing at all, right? That's what happens when you cancel the filibuster and majority rules, right? The minority don't get a voice and you get a dictatorship, huh? Democracies lead to dictatorships. No wonder why we fighting against democracy and we want our republic.
Lower the temperature. See each other again. Listen to each other again.
But when the founders created our Constitution and our Bill of Rights, they established a form of government, and they actually determined that a democracy was the worst form of government.
Democracy is the worst form of government. Why the fuck is we trying to save the worst form of democracy, why we wouldn't fight against the worst government that was ever created? Why wouldn't we? That's smart, ain't it? We supposed to fight for democracy? We supposed to help y'all get power forever and majority rule? It's the worst fucking form of government, as our forefathers said. But Joe Biden and Democrats say they fighting to save it. Democracy is the number one thing on the ballot. Ask them what the fuck democracy is. What is democracy? What is it? I don't know. The fuck you're fighting for it for? Because according to the forefathers, right, that created the country and the laws and all that shit, democracy is the worst form of government. You didn't know that? I guess they didn't.
Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic.
Hey, Joe Biden slipped. He said the republic, huh? Now he was right in that. Now we're not threatening the republic. We're trying to strengthen our republic, huh? Joe Biden slipped and said the republic. He meant to say democracy, but he said republic. He got that shit right. They know how to word their shit. They know how to word it. They know how to pick and choose their word because they believe the American people is dumb. You can just tell them anything and they're supposed to believe it, right? It's a thing called semantic, right? Semantics is the meaning of words, right? How you can say one thing and it mean another thing, right? And semantics, right? Just put an S on it, right? Mean the study of the meaning of words, right? I'm good at both. I study the meaning of the words and I see how to use the wordplay, right? To try to manipulate a narrative, right? You see how they're saying democracy, right? But then Joe Biden slipped and said republic. He tried to fuck up our republic. Wait a minute, I thought it was a democracy. And then you got the black son of a bitch to come on here, right? And he's not going to say anything about democracy, right? He's going to say the union. We're trying to save the union. He was real careful not to say save our democracy until a certain point in time. Watch. Peep game. Semantics and semantic. Ha! Google it. Sons of bitches, you learned something today.
The worst form of government?
Many of the founders said that democracy was nothing more than mob rule. And so they were against democracy and instead felt the correct form of government for this free nation was a republic.
Something that Joe Biden just slipped up and said. The proper one was a republic. It's not a democracy because democracy is mob rule. What you think all Joe Biden minions and the Democrats minions be doing when they be out there in the summer of love and fucking up shit and going to judge's house and that's mob rule, the majority rule. We can't look, and then you can't bring him up in no motherfucking hearing or anything like that because you ain't got no subpoena power. But let a Republican do something, right? They're gonna bring his ass up so quick, right? Because majority rules. That shit wouldn't be going on if Donald Trump and Mar-a-Lago, right? If the Republican Party was in charge, it would have been done properly, right? Because majority rule, they would have made sure they would have followed the republic. Right? The law of the land to get whatever paperwork they need to get. But when you have a democracy, mob rules. Mob rules.
Now, I want to be very clear up front. Not every Republican, not even the majority of Republicans are MAGA Republicans.
But now you want to switch it up. At first he said all of them, but then he got back and hear all that shit. Hey man, you gotta switch that shit up. You can't say all of them because some of them probably both or some of them probably rhinos. Don't say all of them. But watch how careful he say union instead of democracy. Or we need to save our union. I thought we need to save our democracy. Semantics, y'all.
You realize historically the country has always wrestled with the best way to pursue this perfection that we will always be in pursuit of.
Perfection we will always be pursued of, right? He didn't say we were trying to say democracy, right? Perfection. Our perfection is a union. It's not a democracy. Go ahead and say it, man. You don't want to say democracy or a fucking republic. You don't want to say neither one of them.
Yes, a republic. Yeah, to the republic for which it stands.
Not to the democracy of which we stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the democracy which we stand. It don't say that. It don't say that. It says to the republic of which we stand. You say that every day when you pledge allegiance, man. You don't say I pledge allegiance to the democracy of what it stands. No, man. Huh? The signs are there. We are not living in a democracy. It's a fucking lie. They're lying to you.
So, what's a republic?
Well, a republic is a form of government. Let me start that again. A republic is a form of government where the people will go to the polls to elect men and women who represent them. And then those elected leaders create and vote on laws.
Huh? You have a representative, right? And in the republic, right? It's not mob rules. It's the people select the representative, and the representative represent the people, right? So that way you will keep out mob rules. You will keep that out. Because you have a person that represents the people that voting on the law. That's why you need to put the proper people in place to vote on these laws.
The people don't vote directly on laws that affect their life. Rather, it's lawmakers who are chosen among the people. And these are supposed to be the best, the smartest, the most ethical, the most moral, the most upright men and women in a society.
But even though they're not, right? Right? But that's what it's supposed to be. But in a democracy, it takes these people away. And it's mob rule. Anything the mob say is going to go.
Who represent the majority of society.
And that is in order to build a more perfect union.
Huh? A more perfect union.
Today, we celebrate the triumph not of a candidate, but of a cause.
We try to do it maintaining a strong two-party system, hopefully to compete on visions of this pursuit.
Huh? A pursuit. Why you didn't say democracy? Huh? Because the two-party system, right, is a republic. A democracy is basically a one-party system. The people make the choice, not the politicians, not the representative, the people, right? That's a democracy. Go ahead and say we in the republic, man. Go ahead and say it, man. Go ahead and say it, man.
I know speaking of unity can sound to some like a foolish fantasy these days. And to make progress, we have to stop treating our opponents as our enemies. Too much of what's happening in our country today is not normal.
We got to stop treating our opponents like enemies. But then you get right on here today and like, too much in our country is not normal. That's you watching this video. You not normal.
They are not our enemies. They are Americans. They're Americans.
What seems to have happened in recent years is that the Republican Party has decided that maybe that's not a pursuit that we ought to be taking.
Wait. He said we're not trying to pursue a perfect union, right? Republic, Democrat, like that. He didn't say anything about a democracy. Semantics, y'all.
Not every Republican embraces their extreme ideology. I know, because I've been able to work with these mainstream Republicans.
Maybe democracy is not the best route. Maybe.
Huh? You hear him? Maybe democracy is not the best route. Semantics, y'all. Huh? The nigga that said it. Maybe democracy is not the best route. That's why he never said democracy, y'all. He said union. Semantics. He's not agreeing with Joe Biden, y'all. People got to know what semantics is. People got to understand and read in between the lines. He said democracy is not a good thing. He damn right it's not, because the country wasn't built on democracy. He's really talking about a republic. He don't want to say it, though.
We ought to turn toward more autocratic governance.
The Bible tells us to everything there is a season, a time to build, a time to reap, and a time to sow, and a time to heal. But there's no question that the Republican Party today is dominated, driven, and intimidated by Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans.
Huh? You see that? From unity to hate. From hate to unity.
This is the time to heal in America.
And that's what's been happening. But the American people have not given up on this pursuit.
Huh? On the pursuit of what? Of what? A perfect republic? Because he's showing and saying democracy. But Joe Biden's saying it because Joe Biden want to be a dictator.
And that is a threat to this country. These are hard things. But I'm an American president, not a president of red America, blue America, but of all America.
Think about that. He said he's the president of all America, right? If the people put the representatives in place, right, and majority rules, and we live in a democracy, right, that means the Democratic Party ain't got to ask the people what they want, right? They figure out what's best for the people themselves and pass the bills that they fit, that they seem fit, that's gonna help the people, right? Knowing damn well they're not gonna help the people. I'm on the streets doing interviews right now with black women about student loan, right, and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm giving out shirts and stuff like that, right? But I'm doing something about student loan, and I'm gonna do a street video on that. It should be up tomorrow or Saturday. Tomorrow or Saturday for sure, right? But I want to get a black women's perspective on this, right? But we not in a democracy, right? Because in a democracy, the minority has no voice. And what the Democrats doing right now, trying to pass all these bills and put executive orders on shit like that, that's not a republic. That's a democracy. You're not asking for the minority vote, right? You're not the minority has no power or no say so. That's a democracy. So everything Joe Biden doing right now to become a dictator is democracy. Because if you got a democracy, you ain't got to ask the minority for their voice, because you got the power. That's why they want a democracy.
I promise you, we will be judged, you and I, by how we resolve these cascading crises of our era. We will rise to the occasion is the question. Will we master this rare and difficult hour?
And so we Democrats are trying very hard to maintain this pursuit, and we think that what people are beginning to see, that most Americans think this country is worth saving, this democracy.
Mm-hmm.
You heard that? It's worth saving, right? At first he said union. Then he said this country is worth saving. He didn't say this democracy is worth saving. He said this country is worth saving. This democracy. Semantics.
We meet our obligations and pass along a new and better world to our children. I believe we must. I'm sure you do as well. I believe we will. And when we do, we'll write the next great chapter in the history of the United States of America, the American story.
It's worth perfecting in this pursuit of a perfect union.
Pursuit of a perfect union. He never say democracy. You got to read between the lines. He know what he doing.
Or not be given up on.
Liberty is under assault both here and abroad. In recent days, there's been reason to think that this country is moving backward, that freedom is being reduced.
How do you strike the balance between campaigning for unity, while at the same time calling out the most divisive forces that we're dealing with?
And I believe it's my duty to level with you, to tell the truth, no matter how difficult, no matter how painful.
And he telling the truth. No matter how difficult or how painful, they fighting for a democracy. They fighting to have power and total control over you, right? In a democracy, that's what it is. Ain't no country in the world a democracy.
And here, in my view, is what is true. That rights we assume we're protected are no longer. A reminder that we remain in an ongoing battle for the soul of America.
Well, I think that the American people want to know from us, as Joe Biden said the other day, that John Lewis and I used to say a whole lot back in the 60s, whose side are you on?
Huh? What kind of unity is that? Whose side are you on, right? Because if you're not on this side, you're an enemy. How is that bringing the country together? Whose side are you on, right? I'm on the United States side. I can't be on the United States side. I got to pick and choose a side. I want to be on the United States side. What's wrong with that side?
MAGA Republicans do not respect the Constitution. They do not believe in the rule of law. They do not recognize the will of the people.
So if you're a MAGA Republican, right, I guess you believe in Trump. You don't believe in law. You don't respect none of that shit, right? The country, none of that. If you're a MAGA Republic, right? If you're a MAGA Republican, you don't support none of that shit, right? You're just totally against the country. All its laws, all its policies, all its constitution, all its everything.
Are you on the side of this pursuit, or are you giving up on the pursuit?
What pursuit, man? What pursuit? What we pursuing? What are we chasing? A perfect union? A perfect republic? Because we can't be chasing a perfect democracy. That's a dictatorship.
They refuse to accept the results of a free election. And they're working right now, as I speak, in state after state, to give power to decide elections in America to partisans and cronies.
U.S. President.
Wait. But this the same party, right, who want to get rid of the filibuster, right, so they can do a John Lewis or whatever voting law, right, so they can supposedly, right, give the power to the people, right, in a democracy, right? They want a democracy when it comes to voting, right? Because they know they got the majority of the vote all the time, and they would never lose an election if they got majority of the vote and the voting or the elections is ran like a democracy. They're never losing. They know it. They know it. So that's why they're trying to preach to the people, your voice count and your voice this. If the voting went on just like it went on since the beginning of time, it's ran perfectly with the electoral college. Electoral college is not a democracy. It's not. And the country never been ran on a democracy. It's not. Huh? If the country was a democracy, the Democrats would never lose. And everything they say will fucking go. They word will be law.
U.S. presidential election in full swing, many candidates have been praising American democracy. In an interview with Time, Hillary Clinton said, "We have to knit this democracy back together." Clearly, the presidential election is the purest expression of the democratic process.
Empowering election deniers.
You hear that? The democratic process is the clearest form of the democratic process.
To undermine democracy itself.
Well, not exactly. In fact, not only is the election non-democratic, but America itself is not a real democracy.
Huh? It's not a real democracy, right? You can't look up anywhere in any law book. You can't look up anywhere in anything constitutional to say America is a democracy. There's nothing in any fucking law, there's nothing legal say America is a democracy in any of its laws.
And I think that that's what Joe Biden is going to be laying before the American people tonight.
MAGA forces are determined to take this country backwards to an.
If we do democracy, it will be going backwards. Huh?
America, where there is no right to choose, no right to privacy, no right to contraception, no right to marry who you love.
Let this be a democracy, right? Let this be a democracy and see what happens to your privacy, what happens to your rights, what happens to your due process. You don't get no due process in democracy. It's mob rules. There's no due process in a democracy. Google it if you don't believe me. Huh? So you want to fight for democracy and give up your due process? You want to fight for democracy and give up your privacy? You want to fight for democracy and give up your God-given civil rights? Go ahead and do it.
A scenario that we ought to buy into.
They promote authoritarian leaders and they fan the flames of political violence that are a threat to our personal rights, to the pursuit of justice, to the rule of law, to the very soul of this country.
How do you
Perfecting and this pursuit of a perfect union ought not be given up on.
Huh? Pursuit of a perfect union. That nigga know how to mix his words, don't he? He's not agreeing with Joe Biden. He ain't never agreed with Joe Biden. He didn't agree with Joe Biden on the 94 crime bill. He didn't agree with Joe Biden when he said that black shit. He didn't agree a lot of shit with Joe Biden, but he helped Joe Biden get elected. But he never say democracy because he know fucking better.
Proving that from darkness, the darkness of Charlottesville, of COVID, of gun violence, of insurrection, we can see the light. Light is now visible.
Where at? It's not at the gas station. It's not at the grocery store. It's not in the school. It's not in public safety, right? Where the fuck is the light at? The only light I see is Black Lives Matter lighting shit on fire.
Light that will guide us forward, not only in words, but in actions. Actions for you, for your children, for your grandchildren, for America.
It turns out that there are almost no modern countries which would be considered true democracies.
Ain't none. Ain't no country a true democracy. None. Name a country that's a true democracy where the people have a voice, right? The China, the people ain't got no voice. They ain't no motherfucking democracy. Russia ain't no democracy. North Korea ain't no democracy. Mexico ain't no democracy. Canada ain't no democracy. Germany ain't no democracy. England ain't no democracy. Europe ain't no democracy. Africa ain't no democracy. Name a country that's a democracy. Afghanistan ain't no democracy. Huh? Name a country that's a motherfucking democracy. Where a people make the motherfucking laws. Name the country. Name it. In a democracy where the politicians make the laws, give it to the people vote on it, and they bring it back, and that's the law. Name the fucking country that does that.
Instead, countries we consider democratic are actually forms of representative democracy as opposed to a direct democracy.
No matter what the white supremacists and the extremists say, I made a bet on you, the American people, and that bet is paying off.
It is, huh? Because he putting that democracy shit on y'all. It's paying off all right. It's paying off all right with the democracy. I'm putting my faith in the American people. This shit is paying off big time.
What is the will of the people? What is our mandate? I believe it's this. Americans have called upon us to marshal the forces of decency, the forces of fairness, to marshal the forces of science, and the forces of hope in the great battles of our time. The battle to control the virus with unity.
Control the virus. Remember that? He still ain't done that.
We can do great things, important things.
With unity.
We can right wrongs. We can put people to work in good jobs. We can teach our children in safe schools. We can overcome the deadly virus. This is America's day. This is democracy's day.
Huh? Democracy. Huh. He wasn't lying. It was the day you started losing your freedom. Because in democracy, the king rules. You don't go to work, you don't get this Wuhan juice up in you, you're fired. You don't do what the fuck we say, you're fired. Huh? A true democracy. Lock your ass up. Show this hall pass. A democracy. You can't fly over here unless you get the Wuhan up in you. You can't play tennis. You can't be in the U.S. Open. You ain't got the Wuhan up in you. That's a fucking mob rules. Dictatorship. That's a democracy.
Even in this moment, With all the challenges we face, I give you my word as a Biden, I've never been more optimistic about America's future. Not because of me, but because of who you are.
In a representative democracy, citizens vote for elected officials who collectively vote in the place of citizens and are expected to represent their best interests.
No matter if the country crooked or it's a so-called moderate country or whatever, all of them elect people to make the laws. They got different systems of it, but everybody elect officials.
The cause of democracy. Democracy is precious. Democracy is fragile. And at this hour, my friends, democracy has prevailed.
Although that's a step above having a monarchy or oligarchy you didn't vote for, it isn't a direct democracy. A direct democracy enables citizens to vote directly on every law, ordinance, and appointment.
Every law, right? Even though he's saying a democracy, right? The politicians represent the people, right? You don't need the people to vote on the laws, right? Because over here, the politicians make the laws. They don't give them to the people to vote on. That would be a true democracy. They're going to make the laws and vote on them their motherfucking self. They're going to hold their own democracy, which eliminates you, the people. So that's not even a true democracy. Think about it. Did they ask you it pass any bill? They don't ask the people what they want. They tell the people what they need. Well, the people need this, and the people need a park, and the people need a bridge, and the people need the studies, and the people need this training, and the people need this. The lawmakers make up the laws. They don't ask you what you want to vote on. They assume you like it. They tell you what you want. So that's not even a true democracy. But they're going to hold their own democracy because they're going to hold the votes, they're going to make up the laws, and they're going to vote on them, taking you out of the equation.
Only in Switzerland are there small regions with forms of direct democracy.
The MAGA Republicans believe that for them to succeed, everyone else has to fail. They believe America, not like I believe about America. I believe America is big enough for all of us to succeed.
That's a socialist, right? Socialism, right, and democracy go hand in hand, right? Democracy don't go hand in hand with capitalism, but it go hand in hand with socialism. It's basically the same form of government, right? But democracy is the law, and socialism is the economics of that country, right? And they go hand in hand. You see how he said, I believe everybody. Well, if you do that, right, why the fuck did you pay, right? Why is you making the poor people pay for the middle class to get houses and start families and shit like that, right? Why they struggling at the bottom, right? But you want everybody to survive, but you want the people at the bottom to pay for these people's educations, right? Who's ultimately going to make money in the future, right? I said something in my skin, I wanted to make a point, right? Well, hey, we don't mind paying for it, right? We don't mind paying for it, right? We're going to put it in the tax, right? We're going to put it in the tax. Hey, we're going to pay all the student debt. All the student debt. Okay, cool. But if one of them motherfuckers hit a certain point in life where they make a certain amount of money, they got to pay it back. Huh? Yo, then it wouldn't be a loan because then they can contribute, right? And then you take the money, right, that the people from school debt done cleared their debt. They done bought their motherfucking house. They done started their family, right? They done started their business. And now they can give back. Now get that 20,000 back. Get that 10,000 back. You take that 20,000 back. You take that 10,000 back, and you give it to the people at the bottom, right? Maybe you can help somebody with their child support debt, right? Maybe you can help some mother that's behind on her electric bills and and she need an extra fan or something like that, or extra tutors, you know what I'm saying, or something like that, right? Like to catch up from when the kids done been left behind through the COVID shit, right? Maybe you can do some shit like that. Maybe you can give some incentive for black families, you know what I'm saying, and black women to be married, you know what I'm saying, and start businesses and stuff like that. Maybe you can give out loans. Maybe you can do something with the money besides this give it to the middle class and say, fuck it. You don't owe us anything. Just take it. Huh? They got a loan. Make it still a loan. We're going to wipe all that shit away. As soon as your ass makes some money, you're going to have to pay it back. Huh? That'll stop that shit. Pay it back. We're going to stop it because if you give relief $20,000 and $50,000 or whatever, and you're allowed to start a business, and you become a multi-millionaire, right? You don't think you should have to pay any of that money back? Huh? We'll give it to you. Give it back, though. You ain't all the way out your loan. We're going to delay your loan, right? If you don't make it, we're going to put something else on it. Maybe we go out to the schools, or maybe we put something else to try to fix the system and shit like that, right? But if you make a certain amount of money, right, pay that shit back.
Our history has been a constant struggle between the American ideal that we're all are created equal and the harsh, ugly reality that racism, nativism, fear, demonization, we face an attack on our democracy. And that is the nation we're building, a nation where no one is left behind.
Socialism, y'all, and democracy run hand in hand.
I ran for president because I believe we're in a battle for the soul of this nation. I still believe that to be true. I know it can be exhausting and unsettling, but tonight, I want you to know we're going to get through all of this. I believe the soul is the breath, the life, and the essence of who we are. The soul is what makes us us, the soul of America.
The soul of America. What is the soul of America? What the fuck is the soul of America? He still ain't explained that. I don't know what the soul of America. You can put that in a phrase, the soul of America, and everybody can put their own interpretation on it. But what is your definition of it, Joe? What is your definition of the soul of America? Huh?
Is defined by the sacred proposition that all are created equal, not as enemies, but as fellow Americans. Look, our democracy isn't perfect. It always has been. Notwithstanding those folks you hear on the other side there.
They got some Trump supporters up in there heckling Joe Biden, right? He's going to try to switch it up and say, oh, that's a democracy. No, it's not. It's a republic, right? Because he can do it by law. Because if it was a democracy, y'all wouldn't have let his ass in, and he wouldn't have had a voice. Glad it's a republic.
They're entitled to be outrageous. This is a democracy.
No, it's not.
But history and
it's not. No, don't say that shit. If it was a democracy, everybody would have voted his ass out there, and the police would have escorted him out.
Common sense. Good manners is nothing they've ever suffered from. But history and common sense.
And good sense is something your ass has never suffered from. You can bump your head and you couldn't get smarter.
Tell us that opportunity, liberty, and justice for all are most likely to come to pass in a democracy.
Although
no, it won't. No, it won't. He lied to the American people in your face.
So the country as a whole is still representative. In the United States, citizens instead vote for congresspeople who represent their constituents. In the case of the presidential election, citizens don't even vote for the president.
The other thing that's important to understand is the distinction between democracy and a republic is that a democracy is the rule of man.
Huh? Democracy is the rule of man. Who is that man? Joe Biden. Who would be that man? Anybody in that president that's a Democrat? It's ruled by man. So when Joe Biden say the democracy, he's not lying, because democracy is ruled by man, not by people. not by representatives, not by a party. It's ruled by man. So yeah, say the democracy if you want to.
Man ruling over each other, which our founders believe turns into mob rule.
Instead, they vote for their state's position in the Electoral College. This is where every state is given a certain number of votes, and in most states, all of those votes go towards whichever candidate is chosen by the majority.
A republic is the rule of law.
Huh? So they don't say we want to fight for a republic because that would be the rule of law. Why Joe Biden say we don't want to fight for the rule of law? We don't want to fight to save our republic, huh? Why he never say that? Why he say democracy? Because he say if he want to say the republic, he want to say we want to save the rule of law, the law of voting, the law of abortion, the law of minority have a voice, the law of a filibuster, the law of the Supreme Court, right? The law of federal judges, the law of the FBI, the law of warrants. You have to follow the law in the republic. They don't want to follow the law. So they want a democracy, the rule of man. Huh? They said it plain as day. You can Google this shit. If you know your history, you know that it's never been a democracy. Every democracy failed because it's the rule of man. Huh? That's why China and certain other places have certain forms of democracy, right? Because it's ruled by man. So they can say, "Oh, you fucking with our democracy because it's a democracy, right? Because it's ruled by man." United States is trying to be ruled by man, huh? Not by law. Because if it was ruled by law, it'd be a law about kids getting castrated. It'd be a law about sex changes, about marriage, about all kind of stuff. A rule of law. They don't want to live by that. Democrats don't go by the law. Why they gonna fight to say the republic?
Laws are formed and created as a Bill of Rights or a Constitution, and then those laws are never superseded by mob rule or superseded by elected officials. They are.
You can't, and the law and the republic, you can't succeed the law. The law is a law. I don't give a fuck how many people protest and be outside the judges' houses and threaten them and shit, all of that. It's the law, right? In a democracy, you ain't got to respect that. Mob rules.
All under law. So republic is actually the rule of law.
Let's find out. The first reason is that it isn't compatible with capitalism.
Huh? Did you hear that? Democracy is not, right? It's not relatable or compatible with capitalism. What Republicans fight for? Capitalism. What do Republicans fight for? The republic, the law. Huh? What do Democrats fight for? Man rule. What do they fight for? Socialism. You see how that runs hand in hand in socialism and democracy run hand in hand? And capitalism and the republic run hand in hand because capitalism is the law. Socialism is robbing the shit out of people.
Capitalism has since the end of the Cold War become the predominant economic ideology throughout the world.
The state's electoral votes are intended to represent the state's population, but the country's popular vote doesn't decide elections.
Huh? If you get rid of if we're in a democracy, it do. Because majority rules. Why do you think the Democrats want to get rid of why do you think the Democrats are fighting so hard for democracy and not the republic? The law. Every state got to follow the law. Right? They didn't have to follow the law in 2020. Right? They violated the laws and say, oh, hold on, we can count these when we want to. We can expand when we want to. We can do any fucking thing we want to. We can count this when we want to. We can do any fucking thing we want to because mob majority rules. Huh? We ain't gonna hold no investigations because we said it's fair and we the majority. Huh? Majority rule. This is a democracy. We can go after we can go after the minority. We can subpoena them. We can hold hearings. We can lock them up. We can raid their house. We can hit them with charges. But we ain't gonna do our people like that because guess what? Majority rules. And if we say the people didn't do anything wrong, guess what? He didn't do anything wrong. So what? He slept with Fang Fang. So what? This bitch had a driver that was driving her around for the past 20 years. So what if the president is compromised? Right? We don't investigate that because we say it don't matter. We say it don't count. We say it ain't shit. So what about her emails? Majority fucking rules. Huh? That's why they want to keep the majority because they don't want to follow the law. Why you think they say, oh, Republicans say when we get in, we're going to investigate this because we're going to go and see what laws was broken. Right? We want to see, was this law broken? Was that law broken? Was the FBI doing this? Was the FBI doing that? Was the politician doing that? Was he compromised? Was this money trail? We want to make sure people are following the law. But the Democrats say, no, we don't want that. Huh? We don't want the investigations of Hunter. His son is his father. He's not running for president. Huh? We don't want the investigation of Small Will. He was just sleeping with a spy. Huh? We don't want Dianne Feinstein to go under oath and answer no questions. She only had a motherfucker that was working for the Chinese government driving around for 17 years. We don't care about the computer. We don't care about the laptop. It's not important. But we do give a fuck about a phone call. We do give a fuck about that. Huh? Mob rules.
The vast majority of countries allow at least for some form of free market to operate. To some extent, one could say that capitalism and democracy play a sum-zero game with each other.
In the year 2000, Al Gore lost the US election, but actually got more votes than George W. Bush. So doesn't this subvert the Founding Fathers' original intention? No, it was the Founding Fathers themselves who made sure there was no direct democracy.
Huh? No direct democracy. It was the Founding Fathers that said, look, we can't have no direct democracy. But it's Joe Biden and the Democrats that's preaching it. No, we need to save democracy. Our democracy needs to be saved. If not, our country, we ain't gonna have no country no more if our democracy not saved. If we don't have man ruling man, they don't define the word democracy. If we don't have man ruling man, then our country is not gonna survive. We can't have a country of laws. We got to have a country of man ruling man. So fuck the republic. We need a democracy. We need man to rule man.
The main contradiction lies in that while democracy strives to achieve political equality among all of its citizens, providing equal participation and power to all, capitalism has the inevitable effect of creating economic inequality.
Huh? You know why capitalism can create economic equality? Because capitalism gives everybody opportunity to gain capital, right? The harder you work, the more you get, right? You can't do that in socialism. You can't do that in a democracy because mob rules and everybody needs to have this and everybody needs to have that and everybody needs to be taken care of it. Everybody needs to be given free shit. That's the democracy. Take money when you want to and give money where you want to. Take money from here and give it over there. That's all the politician's job is to do. He don't have no job. Their job is to take money from somebody and give it to somebody else. That's their only fucking job. They don't work. They take money from people and give it to some other people, or give it to something or a project that they feel, you know what I'm saying, that can contribute or what's best represent their neighborhood or their district or whatever. No matter if it's a bus or a building or a park, whatever, right? They take money from people and give it to other people. Huh? We're going to vote on this law, right? So we can take money from people and give it to this law we voted on, or give it to this project we voted on, or give it to this policy we voted on. We don't create the money. We create the money by taking the fucking money. Huh? Ain't no politician raising no motherfucking money. When they raise money, guess who they raise it off of? Your ass. I'm going to take your money and give it to somebody else who I feel deserve it, that vote for me in my district. So raise these taxes, you know what I'm saying, on the people, right? Because I need to pay back the people that voted for me in my district. Huh? That's their job.
In the Federalist Papers, James Madison wrote that democracies were spectacles of turbulence and contention, and incompatible with personal security or property rights.
Huh? Property rights. And what property right is being violated right now in a democracy? Oh, you better go after them. Oh, you better get them. We holding these date hearings and all kind of shit. We got all this stuff we done. You know what I'm saying? Done. You see, they backed away off the date hearing and let this shit go on. And then when this shit die down, they're gonna come back with the hearing. Oh, we're gonna come back with the hearing. All this raise shit should be died down the month. So we're gonna schedule another hearing at the perfect time to bring the shit right back up. Oh, so it'll seem more credible when this shit die down. Oh, we ain't got this, but we still got the January 6th, and then the raid, they found this and they found that and this and this and this and that. They want to build it back up. They want to have something to talk about a little later, so they have a series of shit to talk about, because this shit finna die down in a little while. Then another hearing gonna pop up. Oh yeah, we got another hearing right around November. Huh? My rule, majority rule. That's why they was able to do what they done to social media, to the FBI, to Donald Trump's house, because majority rules in a democracy.
The background here is the FBI, I think, basically came to us, some folks on our team, and was like, hey, just so you know, like, you should be on high alert. We thought that there was a lot of Russian propaganda in the 2016 election. We have it on notice that basically there's about to be some kind of dump of that's similar to that. So just be vigilant.
Huh? That's in a democracy. Don't do what we say. Don't do what the law is. Do what the fuck we say. Huh? So Facebook didn't follow the law. They followed the democracy.
This causes citizens with greater economic advantages to be able to acquire more political power.
Right? More political power. Oh, we want to raise the middle class this, right? Because the more money you make, the more political power you got. They're not worried about the people at the bottom, right? You eliminate their vote. You make the laws, right, on what you want to make the laws on, right? And then guess what? The rich get richer and the poor get poor, because you're not going to make the laws that benefit the broke people, right? You're going to make the laws that benefit the people who contribute to your campaign and fundraise you and shit like that. You're not going to make no laws against them. Everybody know the people with the money help make the politicians. Everybody knows that in every country. Huh? It ain't a motherfucking politician around besides Donald Trump that don't get bribed by companies and organizations and unions and all kind of shit. Right? Not one of them.
The problem with a direct democracy is that it often leads to the tyranny of the majority. This is when small groups are oppressed because the majority is unaffected by their oppression.
Huh? You think the Democrats give a fuck about how they treat Republicans? Huh? You think they give a fuck about the laws they break? The violence they lash out? You think they give a fuck about anything? The laws that the Republicans are putting in place, you think they give a fuck about any of that? Huh? You think Joe Biden give any kind of care about your feelings? He got the majority, right? And the majority, you don't give a fuck about the people you crushing. You don't give a fuck about their feelings because it's all about you and your party and your majority rules in a democracy, right? You don't have to follow the laws in a democracy. You think the Democrats are following laws now in the democracy? Huh? You think they're following laws with all the crime that's popping up, all the murders, all the fentanyl, all the border crossings? Huh? You think the Democrats are following the laws? They follow the laws, the border be closed. If they follow the laws, it wouldn't be no bail. Criminals would be locked up. Huh? You think the Democrats follow the laws? They don't care about the laws. And they don't care if you don't care about the laws. Because guess what? They're not talking about crime. They're not talking about the border because they don't need to. They feel they got the majority until some of the majority start waking up and say, wait a minute, this shit is wrong. This shit is not right. And start talking to their politicians and tell them, hey, you got to do something else. This shit is not working. The politicians or the majority is going to do what the fuck they want to do without repercussion. They're not asking the voters what they want. We coming up with student debt because that's what the majority say we're supposed to do. We coming up with this gay shit because that's what the majority say we're supposed to do. Or people say we're supposed to do, so we're going to vote it in. That's a democracy.
In other words, people with more money have a greater opportunity for their voices to be heard and influence politicians through lobbying and other forms than poor ones do.
Huh? So the broker you are, the less influence you got, right? The broker you are, the less influence you got. You keep huh? Why you think the Democrats want to keep black people broke? Huh? Why you think they want to keep them in the position they in? Because the broker you are, the less voice you got. I speak for you. Do you think the Democrats don't speak for anybody who got some money? Huh? They don't speak for people who got money. They don't speak on their behalf and tell them what you need. I'm going to tell a rich motherfucker what they need or what I need to give them or what I can do. They don't do that. Because the rich motherfucker get lawyers and he know the law, which is the republic. Right? He knows that. It's the poor people who don't have a lawyer. It's the poor people who don't have a voice. It's the poor people who don't know the law. So guess what? It's the poor people who don't have a voice. Guess what? Right? When you are a ward, right? If you look up the word ward is a child of an unsound mind. So when you're awarded a state, when you're awarded this and you're awarded that, or you get a attorney, they're saying you too stupid to understand the law. So we got to get somebody to interpret it for you. So you're awarded a state or you're awarded a county. Huh? Are we going to get somebody, we're going to get you an attorney that knows the law so he can explain the law to you because you don't know the law. That's why you get a public defender. You can't represent the law, right? And in the republic, it has to be some kind of rules and set in place where you have true treatment through the Justice Department. Well, that's why they give you a lawyer. If it wasn't true treatment, they wouldn't give you shit. Try to go to other countries and get a huh? You get a paid lawyer that knows the law. That's why people with paid lawyers get less time than people with public defenders. Because your paid lawyer gonna make sure that the court follows the law. The public defender don't give a damn. He wants you to take a deal. Huh? The less money you have, the less voice you have. So to keep black people in property, they say you got a voice, but you ain't got a voice. They as long as you've been asking for better schools and safer neighborhoods and better and cheaper rent or whatever the fuck you've been asking for, you ain't got it yet. They ain't gave it to you. So they really hearing your voice? They're there telling you what you need. They don't hear telling you, you know what I'm saying? Don't trust these people. Don't do this. Don't vote for these people. Don't do this because they racist. They this, they that. They're not telling you why you should vote for them. But to say they democracy, what the fuck is democracy?
Your dirty money, and this will be one nation under the dollar with liberty and justice for none.
Senator, there's a problem at the essay contest.
Please, son, I'm very busy.
A little girl is losing faith in democracy.
Good Lord!
Instead, modern representative democracy allows disproportionate representation and protection to those minority groups.
Huh? Did you hear that? Disproportionate. That's why we're not protected. That's why crime is crazy, right? Because the people at the bottom don't have a voice. Think about how many people in Chicago saying, hey, Mayor Lightfoot, you need to do something. Hey, Joe Biden, you need to do something. Our kids are dying. Our kids are getting shot. They don't have a voice. They're not hearing these people. How many people by the border saying, hey, these people are running through our neighborhoods and people dying inside of the river, right? They're not listening to these people because the broker you are, you don't have a voice. Huh? Think about how the black communities is screaming out for help. Screaming out. Screaming. You see them on the news every day. Hey, our community is fucked up. People died. 9 people died. Died. 30 people got shot. Our community, our kids are dying. Help, somebody help. Mothers crying. You think any Democrat is hearing their voice? If they did, they would do something about it. Let that shit happen to somebody rich with some money that knows the law and goes after people that were responsible for their baby dying, for their baby overdose, for their baby being gunned down innocently, right, in certain places that he was to have been protected by the law. Let them get shot, right? It's going to be a different response, right? That you notice how when somebody missing with money and they're the majority, right, and they got money, they could get Amber Alerts. Let a little black girl go missing from the ghetto, you know what I'm saying? She ain't getting no Amber Alert. She don't get questions. Well, you sure she ran away? You sure she's not over a friend's house? Has she ever done it before? Little white girls with money get lost, right? Amber Alert, 16, where they at party, where she was at, find her, jump in the river, jump over the cliff, check trash cans, question everybody at the school, question everybody at the party, right? But you notice this, right? Most of the times that, and people never bring this out, most of the time the Amber Alerts and these little girls go missing. If you look at them, most of them are in conservative neighborhoods. Most of the girls that don't report it go missing, most of them are in liberal neighborhoods. Google it if you don't believe me. Huh? So it's a difference, right? Oh, it's a little white. No, it's not. It's not the white girl. It's the community. The community come out. The mother come out. They put shit on the fucking trees, and they putting talking to the police, talking to people on Facebook. The police got to get involved. They're like, damn, they already jumped ahead. If the police don't get involved and something happens, they look stupid. So they got to get involved. Somebody missing in the neighborhood. I saw somebody missing, right? In a black neighborhood, they put it on Facebook. If you saw my daughter, please hit me up on Facebook. Bitch, hold on. And if I don't want to have to call the police, wait a minute. Bitch, you waiting on calling the police and you saying your daughter missing and you hitting up Facebook before you hit up the authorities? That's the difference. And even if you did, she did And when she find out her daughter is missing, she do report it to the police. She get it treated different because guess what? They figure her daughter's doing something anyway, or they are missing, or out having fun. They get treated different because it's a lower income family. The friends ain't out missing. Ain't nobody putting no posters on the trees and the light poles. And have you seen her? Ain't nobody wearing those shirts. And ain't nobody calling the news. And ain't nobody demanding shit. So you wonder why you see white women and white kids get Amber Alerts and you don't see black kids get Amber Alerts? Because the white people put the pressure on the law. Huh? Black people put the pressure on the people. Find my daughter. Help me.
As late political theorist Robert Dahl said on his book On Democracy, quote, because of inequalities in political resources, some citizens gain significantly more influence than others over the government's policies, decisions, and actions.
There are also certain rights which are enumerated in the Constitution instead of allowing the public to vote on them. This system combined makes the US a constitutional republic and not a true democracy.
Democracy strives to allow and make happen whatever the majority deems fair. Everyone's vote is counted equally, and whatever path achieves the greatest number of votes will be the one taken.
And that's how the Democrats saying how they trying to trick people who vote for them. They're trying to say we want majority to rule. You deserve a voice. We deserve to make the laws. We deserve to make the decisions, right? Because y'all put us in place. Y'all the majority, so we need a voice. We need to make the laws, huh? We need this democracy. Help us.
In a nutshell, the United States and other modern democracies have no real reason to be truly democratic.
None.
Only does a representative government function more smoothly, it takes care of those who would otherwise be ignored.
A major worry about this, however, is that the majority cannot always be right.
With the exception of some local governments which do see direct democracy from their citizens, the rest find it easier to choose someone who represents their interests.
Right? Because the majority can't always be right. So you get somebody to represent the people, right? The majority, think about this. The majority was supposed to be right on the Wuhan thing. Lock people down. Remember how many wear the mask, get this, get the Trump juice, get that. You know what I'm saying? Remember that they want to strap down from head to toe, wear gloves and shit like that, stay in the house, close the business. Right? Because majority, they scared the majority of the people, and majority of the people scared and went for that shit. They went for the lockdown. They went for the, I don't want to say all that shit because YouTube purposes only, right? But you know how they went for everything. And they were trying to push it on the minority. Remember, Joe Biden come on there and talking about it's a small group of people that's not getting this. It's a small group of people, right, that's keeping the country held behind. If people not getting this in their system, you know what I'm saying, you fucking up for the rest of us. We can't open up. We can't do this. Because guess what? The majority was ruling. Right? The minority finally had a voice and say, look, I'm not taking that. Because by the law, I'm not, my body and my choice, I don't want it in me. The minority had a voice and was speaking up. And guess what? Ultimately, that minority got a voice back. People started suing. People started getting their jobs back. People started certain things started coming out about the majority. What the majority saying was false, and now they apologized and said we should have done this and we should have done that. The majority wasn't right. The minority was. But in that case, since we're in a democracy, they didn't listen to the minority voice. They didn't listen to people say, hey, man, I got health reasons. Hey, man, I'm scared. Hey, man, I don't know the repercussions. Hey, I want to wait. They didn't listen to them. Because guess what? They was a minority. You have to listen to the minority in the democracy. So you can get on and call them fascists. You can get on and call them vax deniers. You can get on there and say they fucking up the country. You can get up there and call them white supremacists. You can get up there and call them every name in the fucking book, right? Because they speaking to that minority. right? So when the majority hear this shit, right, that's why they don't have no feelings, or they don't have no emotion, or they don't have no remorse on anything that they do or happen to a Republican, because a Republican is a racist, right? A Republican is trying to fight against democracy. A Republican is mostly a white supremacist. A Republican is trying to take their freedom. A Republican is trying to take their voice, right? Republicans trying to take their vote. All of this old shit is tied to Republicans trying to take away in a democracy. Republicans don't have the power to do all that shit. A democracy do.
So why isn't America a true democracy? Because according to the Founding Fathers, a true democracy simply doesn't work.
If we are to be led by the idea that whatever the majority does is best, we are prone to make some catastrophic mistakes.
Huh? If we believe that majority is always right, we're going to make a lot of fucking mistakes. Imagine the majority was right in the Trump juice era, right? And everybody had to do it. Then you found out later on it was a mistake. That's what happened in democracy. The forefathers say, hey, a democracy doesn't work. It's the worst form of government ever created. Ever. So why the fuck are we pushing it in America?
With our utter annihilation imminent, our federal government has snapped into action. We go live now via satellite to the floor of the United States Congress.
Then it is unanimous. We are going to approve the bill to evacuate the town of Springfield in the great state of...
Wait a second, I want to tack on a rider to that bill. $30 million of taxpayer money to support the perverted arts.
All in favor of the amended Springfield/Pervert bill? Bill defeated.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. Democracy simply doesn't work.
Huh? Everybody know the democracy don't work. The Simpsons know the democracy don't work. You go and watch the episode of The Simpsons, they got a whole episode of The Simpsons and talking about democracy not working. They wouldn't let me put it on here because it's copywritten, right? But they got a whole damn video about The Simpsons talking about the democracy. Barack Obama, Donald Trump, how this shit work is very, very real witness. It's funny as fuck and is explained exactly how this shit is going. Democracy don't fucking work. The forefathers said it. The forefathers said it. The Constitution said it. Every country in the motherfucking world that tried it said it, right? History said it. But Joe Biden and the Democrats say, hey, we need democracy over here. We need a dictatorship. Huh? We need majority to rule and make all the decisions, no matter if they're wrong or not. We don't need to hear the minority voice. They might be right, but who gives a fuck?
One must simply take a close look at the historical downfalls of mass behavior to notice this. By the same token, there have been times where the minority has in fact been right.
When are people going to learn democracy doesn't work?
Huh? When are people going to learn democracy doesn't work? Right? And if you feel that this educational video work, you can also leave a donation because this video was hella good right here. You know what I'm saying? This video was hella good. So you want to leave a donation, go ahead and leave a nigga a donation and show your appreciation. Democracy do not work. Because a couple of y'all wasn't up on this. A couple of y'all didn't know about the dictatorship. A couple of y'all didn't know about how they trying to use democracy, you know what I'm saying, to gain power. How they trying to use and manipulate the word. How, you know what I'm saying, how our country was never, I mean, y'all know the country ran on the damn republic, you know what I'm saying? But you didn't know how they was twisting it. You didn't know how they was leaving out the word and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? I gave it to you. So go ahead and leave that donation for your boy. You can do it on Cash App or PayPal because this video is over. You know what I'm saying? I'm working on the student loan video right now. I'm working on student loan. That's the video up next. Student loan is the video tomorrow that I'm gonna where we at? Open. Where we at? Open right here. Open project. Not willing to save it right here. We're doing student debt loan. I'm trying to get some questions from the street. I probably go out. It's still kind of, it's 11 o'clock. I ain't going down the street. They're doing drive-bys about this time. It's drive-bys happening around this damn time of the night. I'm not going out in the damn street. Where we at? All right. Wait, I'm doing this tomorrow. Where we at? Right here. School choice. I'm calling this school choice versus reparations. This is what I'm calling this skit right here. You feel what I'm saying? School choice versus reparations. Huh? Because remember they're talking all that school choice shit?
He did a crime bill.
Slavery versus the crime bill. Right? This is going to be a good-ass skit right here. This is going to be a good-ass skit right here. Where we at? Let's see right here. Where we at right here? No, not that. School debt versus the crime bill. All right. Okay, hold on. Where we at? Is this a good part right here? Let me see. Is this a good part right here? I'll put the Elizabeth Warren up in there. Where we at? Reparations. Where we at in the reparations? Why transfer? Where we at? Right here.
An entire generation is now saddled with unsustainable debt in exchange for an attempt, at least, at a college degree.
Not to mention, a recent survey found 47% of Americans who had student debt at one point.
Oh, hold on. Where we at? Right here. Oh, here you go. Here go a good part right here, right? Here go a good part right here. Here go a good part right here. Let's get in this part right here.
Meanwhile,
here you go. Here you go.
Meanwhile, you can't fill up your car. Chicken costs 48% more, and this is at the top of the agenda for the president?
We've had clients come to us that have said, I've rinsed out a diaper and I've reused it.
Can you imagine? This is manna from heaven for the Republican Party.
I've turned a diaper inside out and I've reused it. Sometimes I've left my child in a diaper for far longer than I should have.
In all these tight races coming into the midterms, this is going to be the issue that they get to campaign on. Why would you do this?
There is no government support in America to help pay for diapers, and many poor families struggle to afford them.
But we helping out the middle class. Oh, this is gonna be good right here. This is gonna be good right here. We helping out the middle class, right? But it's families out there struggling to get diapers, huh? It's families out there struggling to get diapers. And remember this shit right here. Remember this right here.
Well, he's supported a study of reparations, which I believe is what's being discussed, and studying the continuing impacts of slavery, which is being discussed in this hearing on H.R. 40, I believe it is.
It establishes a commission to actually study the impact of slavery on African American communities.
Oh,
we know that African Americans are not being treated equally in this country. We know that there are economic,
Hold on.
As Japanese Americans who were granted reparations after being forced into internment camps.
What is my party doing with this? They're disadvantaging. I think they're not helping the people that we're here to help, which is poor people and underprivileged communities.
Right.
Did that, and they call you a super predator, and I'm letting people out of jail now that you have treated the African American population community, you have treated the black community about as bad as anybody in this country.
So the reason I'm doing this skit, right, is to compare, right? You say, right, Joe Biden called names, right? He called black, when he was trying to make laws back then, he called black people super predators. Right now, he calling white people racist, right? As far as the crime bill and slavery, right now, right, he was fighting for reparations, right? Oh, we're gonna do something for reparations. We're gonna do something for the black people and the slavery and shit like that. Well, I got something for Joe Biden. Why not do fuck the slavery? Why would I do something for the people that was affected in the '94 crime bill? I mean, you ain't got to do a study of you ain't got to do no study of roots and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of families that was affected by the '94 crime bill. You know what I'm saying? Why not get them incentives to get ahead? If it was unfair, if it was a mistake, and it was all like that in the clause harm on the black community, why don't Joe Biden do something for that, right? And then as far as priorities, right? You want us There's people out there that's and Joe Biden said people in food lines and people in this, right? You want people who stand in line for food lines and paying for diapers and shit like that. You left them behind, right? Because you say you want the middle class to be able to start a family, right? And you want the middle class to be able to start a business and buy a house, right? When you got these people already got kids, you know what I'm saying, that's living in their car, right? Can't afford electricity and shit like that. You're not doing nothing for them, but you want to help the middle class start a business and start this shit, right? So it's a difference between that, you know what I'm saying, this. So where are reparations at? You know what I'm saying? You want to do something for black, there's lots of things you can do for blacks. Where the fuck is all reparations at if you want to do things for black people? Right? But it's plenty of things, and this is the priorities where Joe Biden put his shit at, and that shows why he don't give a fuck about minorities. Right? He's talking about, the bill is going to pay for that. Well, a bill could have paid for a lot of shit. It could have paid for that child care you was talking about. It could have paid for that preschool. It could have paid for education. It could have paid for school choice. It could have paid for a lot of shit, right? It's black kids are 2 years behind in education, and you've done nothing in no fucking climate bill to better their future, right? Them if they drinking clean water and they breathing from clean air and they breathing clean air, if they ain't got no education to get ahead in life, you know what I'm saying, anything like that, they're not gonna be able to enjoy the fucking air or the water. If they uneducated, the only motherfuckers gonna enjoy the air and the water is, guess what? The middle class and the rich and the shit like that. The lower class ain't gonna be able to enjoy the fresh air, the clean water. They'll be working too fucking hard for peanuts. They'll be slaves. They'll be programmed. They'll get universal pay and all that shit. Huh? They got a plan for your black ass. They got a plan for your brown ass. They got a plan for your poor white ass. Huh? And their plan is working perfectly. And guess what? Motherfuckers is helping them. Huh? Think about what Joe Biden's saying every fucking day when he get on about this student loan. I want to help the middle class get some breathing room. While motherfuckers at the bottom is choking to death. I want to help the middle class start a family. I want the middle class to start a business. Huh? Think about what Joe Biden is saying. And if you're a black person or you're a minority or you ain't got that $50,000, imagine how you feel. Imagine how you're left behind. You should feel disrespected. Right? Because if you look at the stats on the student debt loan, right, he's not talking about black people. 80% of motherfuckers old student debt is white. I mean, I got the stat. I forgot it's a stat up in here somewhere, but most of them people is fucking white. There's only 12% of people that got student debt, old student debt, and most of them is white. Huh? And you don't have to be no mathematician to understand that. It's more white people in poverty. It's more white people that's rich. It's more white people that's middle class. It's more white people that's gay. It's more white people on drugs. Right? It's more white people it's more white people that's spiritual. It's more white people that in every category is more white people that do it, right? Because it's just more white people, period. Huh? We're not going by percentage, right? We're going by numbers. The only number that black people beat white people at is black on black crime. The only fucking number. Huh? We don't beat them in any other category. Or unless you want to put abortions up in that motherfucker. Right? And we not beat them at percentage. We beat them at numbers. knocked the percentage out the fucking park. Huh? Of course, they'll have more corporate jobs, more multi-millionaire, more CEOs, and more, because there's more white people. It's 250 million motherfucking white people on the face of the United States that consider what people consider white. It's only 39 million blacks. You do the fucking numbers. If everything was equal, guess what? Black people have less opportunities. Because guess what? We got 3 other races ahead of